the abstract expressionists, to some degree, had depleted the vitality of their resources, if I may, by the late 50s, and including by 1960, shows an easing off of vitality and strength and character in his work. Franz Klein has gone from black and white into some degree of color. Rothko is pretty much painting the same format he had been painting. Motherwell is still doing homages to the Spanish Republic. And the art community, though it didn't know it needed a refreshment, in the late 50s, these two artists appeared, Bob Rauschenberg and his friend Jasper Johns. And they were considered a disruptive element, you know, and a new way of seeing the world when they were observed and noticed, and there was a small audience to notice them.
I dreamed I painted a large American flag. And I got up the next morning and went out and bought materials and began to paint this flag.
I was never interested in the abstract expressionism, pessimism. You have to have time to feel sorry for yourself if you're going to be a good abstract expressionist.
This is Robert Rauschenberg's 1955 Combine painting called The Bed. What the artist did was to take a quilt, a sheet, and a pillowcase in the studio, stretch it around a canvas, and then splatter paint on it in a critique and a tribute to abstract expressionism. Because what he did was to take the gesture, the accident, the play of abstract expressionism and apply it to a common familiar object. This is a painting by Jasper Johns in the abstract expressionist mode, but working its way out of it. It's called Painting with Two Balls, and those are two wooden balls which are wedged between 2 out of 3 canvases. What he's done here is to allow us to see through the painting to the wall. He's trying to deny the fact that a painting is a two-dimensional object.
Maybe it was a period that we had to go through, so as they say, they had to destroy art to start all over again. But I don't think that's what they had in mind, but it sounds good for when you do art criticism.
The pop art movement was a complete shift, a dramatic turnabout, where art was seen as the world outside of the self rather than the world inside of the self. And that's really the salient characteristic of the dramatic events that took place during the 1960s. A whole different mental and physical attitude in relationship to the society immediately around the artist.
Soon there's a knock on my door. This was 1961. And it's Henry and Karp and Bellamy. And they're looking around at my paintings, and Bellamy says, "I'm opening a new gallery on 57th Street, and I finally found something I could show." Karp says, "Don't sign any papers."
I was trying to remember how I met Henry, and I can't. It was impossible not to meet Henry if you were in any way involved in the art world. You met Henry.
And Henry, he's like, if you knew Henry, he was like, not like Porky Pig, but he was sort of dancing around with a cigar. He's like kind of joyful, very young cherubic guy. He's very, very young.
Henry's looks, his physical appearance was just irresistible. His round face, and he looked like an adolescent.
When he was 27 and came to New York, he decided he had to look like a curator. And so he started dressing like a curator, bow tie, smoked cigars, grew a little beard, da-da-da-da. He's 27 years old. All of a sudden, he looked 47. And he did this on purpose. And he wasn't fat. And I remember one time, he just took off his clothes and laid around in the sun. He wasn't fat at all. I mean, he just had this appearance that he had to be tubby and be a certain dress in order to give the impression that as a curator, he knew what he was talking about.